What is going on, guys? It's Mr. Banks here, and today I'll be going over a watch list tutorial so you guys fully understand how to read and take the trade plans that are given to you each morning. Now, today I'll be going over the 4 different types of trades that you can take. I'll be going over the break and hold to the upside for calls. I'll be going over the break and hold to the downside for puts. I'll be going over the reject level for puts, as well as the bounce level for calls. So I'll be going over the 4 scenarios and the 4 different types of trade plans that you will be receiving and that you'll see throughout your time with me. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, I will be using a actual watch list and trades that were taken today. Today is 5/31/2023. So let me go ahead and share my screen with you guys. Awesome. So the first trade I want to go over, which is the most common trade that we like to take, is the break and hold. So we'll be going over the Apple break and hold of 178 that we took today. When we're looking for break and holds, there's a couple things we want to look for. We are going to be using on all of these either the 2-minute or the 5-minute time frames. Now let's go ahead and get started to today. On break and holds. On break and holds, we're looking for a level to break and hold. Now there's a couple different ways that we can play this. One of the biggest things we want to look for when we actually break our level, so today was the 178 that we were trading. Once we break a level, we want to see the next candle open up and close above that level, right? So we are not talking about a full wick down, right? Not the wick, but the full body candle close above the level. So we can wick down from the level, but we want to see a full body close. And we either want to see that on the 2-minute or the 5-minute time frames. Now, sometimes the 2-minute is better, depending on the momentum that the trade has. Sometimes the 5-minute is better. Now, if you can, I do always recommend to use something like this, where you can have both the 2-minute and the 5-minute when you are getting into a trade open at the same time. So for example, on Apple today, on our break and hold of our 178 level, you can see that the 5-minute time frame was the much better time frame to use. The 2-minute time frame, we did have a nice break and hold, but then we had a break and hold below the level. Even though we held a major level, we had that break and hold below the level. The 5-minute time frame was much cleaner. Again, sometimes the 2-minute time frame is much cleaner. Sometimes the 5-minute time frame is much cleaner. Now we're having a big momentum move out past the level, right? So say today Apple had a huge candlestick and we ran all the way up here. Sometimes the 2-minute time frame is better because then we can see it open up above the level, not as high as its 5-minute time frame. But today, the 5-minute time frame was the winner. So looking at the 5-minute time frame, again, the biggest things that we want to see is a break and hold over the level. And what do I mean by the break and hold? The most common question asked is I want to see a full body candle closure. So not this wick, but the body of the candle close above the level. Once we break out and see a full body candle closure above the level, that is when the risk to reward is now there to take the trade. Now, can it wick down again a little bit? Yes, but that is why we don't keep a super tight stop loss, right? We keep a certain level stop loss. And for in this instance, I would have already used the after hours around 177.75 as my level to cut. But again, so looking for a break and hold is we want to see a full body candle closure above the level, right? You have another full body candle closure, and then we finally took off. In this particular trade, we're seeing some massive wicks down. That is showing me that there was buyers present. That was showing me that anytime the sellers were trying to take over, the buyers kept showing up and buying up, protecting this level, right? So big wicks down showing us that the buyers are buying this up, and we had these full body candle closures above this level. Now, this is what I mean on the break and hold. and what we want to see. Again, we can either use the 2-minute or the 5-minute time frames. Sometimes the 2-minute is better. Sometimes the 5-minute is better. In this case, the 5-minute was the better time frame to use. We have the full body candle closures above the levels, 1, 2, 3. We took the entry and we wrote it up for 94%. Now, another way you can use the break and holds is a back test, right? Is a back test level. So we can wait for a back test, right? We broke out, wait for this back test, right? And once we see the back test is holding at this level as support, we can then take the level. But again, it is the same principles that apply here. It is the full body candle closure above our level, right? A full body candle closure above our level. Now, we did have a break and hold right here, so you could have taken the trade here. Took some profits here and waited for that back test, and then also re-entered some more position into the trade and wrote it up. Or we could have waited for that back test. But more often than not, we're going to see something like this, especially at the open, where we get a break and we start to see full body candle closures above the level. So again, I just would like to reiterate, what are we looking on a break and hold? We're looking for a break of the level and a full body candle closure above the level like this, signifying that this level is now holding as support. And when we have that momentum, especially in the morning, in the first 15, 30 minutes of this break, when we have the break and we come back and retest the level and a full body candle closes above that level, that is showing us that the level is being protected and we're more than likely going to keep with that momentum and head up, which is exactly what we saw today. Now, the next thing I want to talk about, next type of trade I want to talk about is going to be the reject. So again, just playing from the watch list today, going to be the reject level is going to be our QQQ 350 reject level. So let's go ahead and bring QQQ up. Let's go ahead and look at the 2-minute and the 5-minute time frame. So our big level to reject today was, in fact, this 350 level. Perfect. Now, as we can see, again, this 5-minute time frame turned out to be the better one. More often than not, the 5-minute time frame is usually the one to trade on. Sometimes the 2-minute is better, but again, 5-minute is usually the better one to trade off of. So now let's go ahead and look at the 5-minute time frame on this reject. So what are we seeing here on this reject? So we're coming up to a level. What do we want to see? Well, just like our breakout level, and we saw those big wicks to the downside, we want to see the trade and the candlestick movement start to reject to the upside. And what are we seeing here on the 5-minute at a 350 level? Another perfect example of a long wick up that's showing us that we did break out the level, but on the same candle, right, we had a hold below our level. So we could see a full body candle closure below our level. Big wick to the upside was showing us that the buyers were it had big momentum at the open and the buyers took it up past their level, but then sellers quickly defended it and sold it off and this was a perfect example of a full body candle closure below our level. And then what happened? We had a lower high. And again, a nice wick to the upside showing us that sellers are present and another full body candle closure below the level. Now, at this point, this is where we can definitely take that risk to reward to the downside. So again, we're looking for a reject. What are the things we're looking for? Well, one, we're looking for it to come up to the level, right? We're looking for it to come up to the level. A good A+ setup for a reject is also seeing that full body candle closure below the level, right? So just like we had that full body candle closure above for the break and hold to the upside, we're looking for a reject. We want to see that full body candle closure to the downside, right? Also the full body candle closure to the downside. And the wicks are just added confluence to it. So the wicks are saying, just like to the upside, where the wicks to the bottom, where the buyers defended, these sellers are now defending this level, right? So the bigger the wick, right, showing us that these sellers were absolutely present today. Huge sellers present. big wicks to the upside, full body candle closures below our level. And then what happened? We kept on putting lower highs and full body candle closures below the level, and we could not break it back above this level. And there was a nice downside trade. So again, I'll go over this really quickly. Kind of like the upside, when we're looking for the reject, we want to see long wicks to the upside, showing us that these sellers are present. Now, they don't have to be this long, but we do want to see just some wicks to the upside, right? If we have a full body candle closure below the level, that is also something that we would love to see, right? A full body candle closure below level. Or if we're coming up to the reject, this is again the full body candle closure below level. And this is also showing that the wicks are below the level. So the wicks don't necessarily have to come up above the level. They can also come below the level, just like this, showing us that it is rejecting the level and we cannot break through. So this is a picture perfect setup of how to take a reject from the watch list. Now let's go ahead and look at a break and hold below a level. So again, Tesla, right? 202 was our level. So how do we play a break and hold below a level? Well, again, it is very, very similar to a reject, right? Very similar to a reject. So here's a 2-minute time frame. As we could see, that 5-minute time frame was very good as well. But here's where the 2-minute time frame kind of came into play a little bit better on this one, right? A little bit better. So it gave us this one more candlestick showing we broke below the level. We opened up, rejected this level again, and headed lower. On the 5-minute time frame, we just had that one candle reject and head lower. This 2-minute time frame kind of gave us one extra candle, which when we're looking at price action, sometimes that extra candle will help us in dictating, the type of price action that is occurring, right? It's giving us a little bit more detail to the story. So let's go ahead and blow it up. Here's a 2-minute time frame. So we broke above the level. And then if we're playing a break and hold below the level, what is something that we're looking for? Well, again, it's going to be very similar to a reject, right? We're breaking below the level, and then we come back up and retest the level and reject it again. So just like a reject, it's very similar, but we're coming down below the level. And what we really want to see is a back test to take our entry, showing us that this level is now a resistance, right? We found it as support. We broke out and found it as support. And now we're seeing this flip to resistance. So we're playing a break and hold to the downside. What we really want to see is obviously a break to the downside with a full body candle closure, and then a back test. So we want to see at least another candle open up and get a nice back test to the level to take short, right? So it just gives us some more time. It gives us some more, price action to read to say, hey, we broke below this level. We also opened back up another candle below this level and we back tested it. And we also failed the level again. So it's just giving us a double confirmation that yes, this level is now acting as resistance because we broke below, we back tested it, we're rejecting it again. So that's giving us, it's showing us that yes, this level has now flipped to as resistance and kind of giving us that confirmation on the back test of the reject. So it's pretty much as similar as a reject. We want to see a back test to kind of give us that confirmation that we tried to break back up again, but then we rejected it, showing us that this level is now a nice resistance. And then that is where we can take the trade. So this is a nice break and hold to the downside example. And I believe Amazon today had another one of a break and hold as well, right? So 120, big level today, right? We traded that level. We broke below. And then what happened? Nice little back test to the level, failed it again. And now we headed lower, right? So this is a perfect example of, 120 was a nice support, as we can see here. And then what happened? We broke below, full body candle. And then we had a nice little back test here, showing us that we want to try to break back up, but then we failed, giving us that confirmation that now, yes, this support is now turning into a resistance, and we can take this break and hold back test, obviously reject, to the downside. So this is a break and hold for puts. Last but not least, let's go ahead and look at one more trade, which is going to be a bounce trade, right? So there is type in bounce. There is 4 different types of trades that can be taken from the watch list, right? That you will see from the watch list. We just went over a break and hold to the upside and what that means. We went over a break and hold we went over a reject, right? So it came up and rejected. We went over a break and hold to the downside, right? And here's the last but not least is American Airlines bounce at 1450. So let's go ahead and take a look at American Airlines at 1450. So here's a 2-minute. We can also look at the 5-minute. But what are we looking on a bounce to hold as support? Well, again, sorry, let me go ahead. Toss this baby up there. So what are we looking at as far as a bounce, right? So very similar to the reject, except pretty much just the opposite. We want to see some nice wicks to the downside, and we want to see the candles full bodies still hold above our level. So as we can see here, we had nice wicks to the downside, showing us that buyers are still present. Full body candle closures are still above our level, nice wick to the downside. And now that is what a bounce looks like. So this would be a perfect example of taking a bounce from the watch list, right? We're getting some wicks to the downside. So just like the reject, we had wicks to the upside, we're getting some wicks to the downside. We're also seeing full body candle closures above our level, right? So just like we want to see below the level for a reject, we want to see these full body candles still stay above the level. And again, these wicks could come to the downside. That is fine. But what we want to see is a full body candle closure above our level as we are seeing here. So this is what a bounce trade would look like. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed this. This was the watch list tutorial. Today, we went over 4 different types of trades that you see on the watch list. A break and hold to the upside. And just to recap real quick for that, to take calls, is we want to see a break to the upside and a full body candle closure above our level and holding. If we have some wicks to the downside, even better, showing us that buyers are present. But we want to see that full body candle close above the level. Going over a reject, right? We want to see some wicks to the upside at the level that we're rejecting, showing us that we're rejecting that resistance, and a full body candle close below our level, right? Break and hold to the downside. What we want to see is a break to the downside, but more importantly, we want to see a back test to the level, right? Giving us that confirmation that yes, this is what was support, has now broken below. We're back testing it and we're rejecting it, showing us that support is now resistance and we could take it to the downside, right? And then again, we want to see that back test and a full body candle close below the level to reject to the downside. And last but not least, here is a bounce. We want to see a bounce come, and then we want to see that full body candle closures above our level. Yes, the wicks are even better, even more confluence, showing us that buyers are present, but we want to see those full body candle closures hold above our level to take the trade. Hope you guys enjoyed this. This video was long overdue, but there was 4 different types of trades you guys could take from the watch list. I will see you in the group, and I will see you on the flip side. Hope you guys enjoyed. Have a good evening.